Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. We've got a video for you today that's going to be a little bit outside of the realm of what you're used to seeing from us, which that's kind of what we're known for. We like to kind of, change things up a little bit. We're up here today in the editing man cave. This is where we edit all of our YouTube videos. And we're going to be talking about some really interesting software that we use to train indoors. Like this week, I don't know if you've been following the weather, but Georgia weather's been really crappy. We've been getting tons of rain, like flash flooding everywhere, and it's not practical to get outside and go to the range, and you might not have access to an indoor range or something like that. So that's where something like this laser training software comes in handy, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. We've got a CERT next level training pistol, pretty simple here. We'll go into some of the details and show you guys how it works. Also, I promised many of you guys, I posted a couple of photos of our loft up here on Facebook, and some of you guys are demanding kind of a tour of, our little space here. We are planning on cutting some of our own music tracks and things like that. So I'll show you some of the music equipment and all the little crap up here we have. But for now, I'll turn it over to Chad, and he's going to explain how easy it is to set the software up, because he's a little bit more tech-oriented than I am. And I will operate the pistol while he sets up the software, and we'll show you how this works. Really great way to train indoors, regardless of the weather, without expending a single round of ammunition. We'll show you how it works, really easy. All right, well, Chad's going to pull up the software, show you how easy it is to set up. The little arrangement that we've got here is a webcam. It's just a little simple Logitech webcam that's pointing towards the wall. And on the wall, we've got a couple of D28 style targets that have quadrants on them. That obviously, when you're talking about a shooting discipline such as IDPA or IPSC, it's a point system that, of course, is for each appropriate discipline going to, differ a little bit. But for the purposes of what we're going to do, you're going to assign quadrants through the software where we can assign where we want the laser to pick up as a hit or a miss.
Yep. What's cool about this system is the pistol itself emits a couple of different lasers. It emits one on the trigger pull itself, and it actually has a switch on top to indicate trigger take-up. So it's a good training aid as far as learning good trigger control without expending any ammunition or dry firing your firearm.
Sure.
We've talked about in the past about dry firing your gun, and over time, sure, it could cause damage, but you can use snap caps to negate that. But you're talking about racking the slide each time, having to put the snap cap back in sometimes. It's just kind of a pain in the butt. With this system here, it's very simple, and you get the same effect. A full-size pistol, this is basically the same thing as a Glock 17, okay? But you don't have to worry about dry firing your gun or anything like that. So the laser gets sent down to the target, and the software actually, you customize the software, and I'm going to show you right now exactly how to set it up. So this is a laser training software, and as you can see in the screenshot here, we have our two targets on the wall by the window. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on these targets here and get these things kind of squared away in the frame, and then I'm going to set up target quadrants. Using this tool down here, you can set up different shapes. You have a rectangular shape here, circular, ovular, and a triangle. We're going to set up basically a square right here on the head, which on this IDPA target, the quadrants on the head and chest are usually like A zones and such, if I'm not mistaken, but we set up a circle here in the A zone. So these are basically like our kill zones, okay? So set up another one here. And the targets are numbered quadrants, and that'll come a little bit later on in the demonstration here. We'll show you what you can do with some of the different modes.
Oh yeah, this is pretty cool, guys. You'll like this.
All right, so here we have our 4 quadrants set up. We've got 2 heads and then 2 kill zones in the chest here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the editing. And what this is going to do is it's going to calibrate the screenshot that you see on the wall. And each time that Eric puts a shot on any of these quadrants, you're going to get an audible gunshot sound on the software, as well as basically timing indicators and such based on the various modes that you can use. So we're just going to do kind of a free-ranging setup here. All right, as you can see, Eric's shots are numbered here. You've got shot time. So that first shot after the beeper, he took 2 seconds to get on target. Shows your split time, and then your targets that were hit each time. So 2 in the head on each 1 and 3, 2 in the chest on 2 and 4 here. So it'll give you a good idea of your trigger control and such. If your shots are very close together, on the target down range, you know that your trigger control is really good. If your shots are landing down outside of the hit zone, then you know that you might need to work on your trigger control a little bit. And it's a good way of training and avoiding the high cost of centerfire ammunition. But, you know, like we said before, a good 22 handgun like this little Smith & Wesson M&P 22 compact here is a great aid when you can get out to the range. But like Eric mentioned earlier in the video, this week has just been raining like hell. And I mean, in that case, you know, you're not going to get outside of the range. Sometimes you may not want to get to the indoor range, but being able to train in the comfort of your own home and actually, you know, get some meaningful trigger time per se on a decent firearm, I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, the trigger control is one of the biggest things as far as, you know, learning proper sight picture and everything, and learning how to shoot a handgun good. If you can shoot a handgun good, you can shoot any other firearm exceptionally well.
Absolutely.
And, you know, there are other drills that you can do with your real firearm, like such as a dime drill. And, you know, I don't know if you want to talk about that. You know,
yeah, we can show them dime drills real quick. So the laser training software, we're going to get back to that in just a moment. I'm also going to show you dime drills. Dime drills are great training. Let's see one of those dimes over there.
Here we go.
Let's just say that you do want to dry fire your gun, or you can even use it with the SIRT pistol. If you want to combine the laser with the dime, you can do that. Basically, just take the firearm, place a dime on the front sight post, hold it very still, acquire your sight picture, squeeze the trigger. The dime should not move, okay? It's a little bit more tedious and it takes a little bit more time, but on a rainy day, you can do this in your living room if you want.
You can do this all day long. And, you know, this is an old school method. I mean, this has been done for years and years and years to teach proper trigger discipline.
Now, something else you can do, you can't really do it on a handgun, but on a rifle you can do it. On a, say you like shooting a, you know, just regular like AR-15, like that's an A2 style, you got a lot of exposed barrel, heavy bull barrel, you can actually place the dime carefully on the barrel. Now it helps better if you've got a couple of people with you that can kind of help you out or whatever. Somebody that can place the dime back on the barrel after every shot when you recharge the rifle. That's out of the scope of this video, but dimes, you know, take a dime, put it on the front sight post or rest it on the barrel of a rifle, and you've got a great way to train with your trigger squeeze and follow through.
You certainly do. And like we mentioned earlier in the video, the SIRT pistol here actually has a separate mode for trigger take-up. And as you can see on the target down range, you see the red laser pop up. Basically, as you take the trigger up to the point where you're just about to break the contact between the hammer and the sear, or the striker and the connector itself, you can see how your trigger take up actually affects your trigger squeeze. Right. You know, and the green laser is actually the shot. So you want that laser just basically making a nice clean circular mark on the target down range. You don't want it doing this number.
Right.
If it's making lines, then you know that you're jerking the trigger down. Usually right-hand shooters, the common thing is that they shoot low and left. Left-hand shooters shoot low and right because they're jerking the trigger down. They're not squeezing the trigger and going in a linear fashion. They're just pulling it very roughly, and it just causes a lot of issues.
See, this laser training software is also awesome. Let's see that gun for a second. It's also awesome if, let's say that you have an instructor that you work with, or let's just say you and a couple of your friends want to get together and just have a good time and train a little bit, but say it's a rainy day like we talked about earlier, obviously. What the laser emitter will actually do, especially when the pre-take-up one, is it will really reveal everything that's going on, and it will allow an instructor that's watching you to find flaws in your technique, and that's what the entire purpose of this is.
Oh yeah, and give you ideas as far as how to improve your technique and whatnot. And like we said before, if you can shoot a handgun well, you can shoot anything else well, because you know the distance between the trigger and the end of the barrel on a pistol, any small deviation in your trigger control will basically equate to a very noticeable issue as far as where your rounds are going. In a rifle, not so much, because you've got a lot of range. You know, you've got a longer barrel, 16-inch barrel on the minimum. So your shots might not deviate as much, but you'll notice that at much longer range. You're not going to notice it at a indoor range where you're only shooting a rifle 25 yards. But if you get out and you're shooting like a say you're shooting a precision bolt gun at like 500-600 yards or even 1,000 yards, trigger control is everything.
Oh yes.
So
well, let's show them. Let's just do the quick
all right,
feature.
so
Yeah, the quick start.
On the software here, you have several different modes that are available to you. The modes are found down here. You've got immediate start, which we showed just earlier, and you've got basic, which is not timed. You've got a call target segment where basically you can set this thing to call each target very randomly, and you have to basically know which quadrants you're firing into. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Sure.
And it'll call the target, you pull, and you squeeze the trigger.
Let's try that.
So, all right, we're going to do the call target. We're going to do 5 calls, par 3, and we're going to go ahead and start right now. So the start button is right here. And on the software too, you actually have a lot of information that comes up in this box down here, basically helpful tips and such as that, just when you're learning the software itself. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and start shooting. So I'm going to start now. You'll hear the buzzer.
3, 3, 4, 2, 1.
Pulled that one.
You pulled a couple of them.
Yeah, I did.
If you noticed, guys, on the screenshot here, you could see some of the laser indicators actually making kind of a diagonal line. That shows that Eric's trigger control might not be quite on up to par.
Right.
But this little laser training pistol, it's got the same weight as a full-size pistol that's loaded, got a fully loaded magazine and such, but the trigger is a little bit heavier than on a normal gun. Like my Glock 17 here, it's the Meltdown Glock. I've got a 3.5-pound Ghost connector in it. So, those shots were right on par, but, I've got a 3.5-pound Ghost connector in there. You gonna let me talk?
Yeah.
But, the trigger pull is around, with the striker spring and everything else.
I didn't do that.
You didn't do that?
I swear.
It's got a little bit of bugs here and there. But the trigger pull is around 4.5 pounds or so with the striker spring that I have installed just for reliability. But this trigger here is, probably around maybe 7 or 8 pounds. It's a little bit different, but like we said, it's a good training aid, and you don't have to expand any ammunition. So.
Well, one of the interesting things as well, and what I can learn from what I just did there is that you have a tendency, or at least a lot of people will have a tendency that when they're tracking a target and moving to a target, they'll tend to favor the sweep of the muzzle past the intended target, and that can also cause some deviation. So let's try that one more time and see if I can straighten up that a little bit.
All right. So we're going to do the call target one more time.
Sure.
3 pars, 5 calls, and we're going to start now.
Let's do it.
Okay.
1,
I did it again.
4,
I didn't do that.
4,
4.
1,
I'm still jerking on the dang thing.
4,
4. Still jerking on it.
Well,
all the shots hit in the intended, somewhat intended area, but...
Well, you nipped this one guy up here kind of in the, you kind of scalped him just a little bit,
It's kind of weird, it's... In some ways like shooting a gun, in other ways not. I can definitely see where it would be an excellent training aid, and that's what it's for. Why don't you give it a try?
Sit fine.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do a random start, and I'm just going to put 2 shots in the A zone on the chest there, 1 shot in the head on each target, and we're just going to go from there. And see, this is something that you don't have to have a buddy to actually work this software. You can literally just sit here like I am right now with firearm in your hand,
Sure.
and just train yourself just for fun.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start shooting here. All right, so it's a random start. I'm just sitting here.
Not bad.
So we've got 2 good shots in the kill zone here on the chest, 1 in the head on each target. Good to go. First shot was just over a second here. Split times, 1/4 of a second, 1/3 of a second, give or take.
Not bad.
Running about 2/10 of a second as far as split time and such goes. But
Let me try that stick.
all right, try that.
That's kind of neat. I didn't do it. The gun's pointed away.
It must be the lighting.
Yeah, it's probably the lighting. One thing that I will mention about this particular software and using a webcam is that it is very dependent on the lighting in the room, and you got to have good lighting. I probably don't have the best lighting in this room, so it can cause some minor anomalies that can cause you to have some weird effects from time to time, but so far it doesn't seem to really affect the usefulness of the software.
No.
That's just something you might want to think about.
All right, so we do have a calibration tool in the software itself. So because of the changing light coming in this window here, I mean, we've got limited space to work with based on the style of the loft. So we're going to automatically calibrate this for the lighting, and we'll see if that helps a little bit. Clear our targets out here, and we're going to go ahead and start again. This is going to be a random start.
Okay.
So 2 in the chest, 1 in the head on each target.
Okay, I'll try.
Let's see if you can do better than me.
Probably not.
All right, go ahead. Okay. So your time on the first target was longer than mine. I think you were, I was about 1.3 seconds, you were 1.7 seconds. And guys, you know, we're not competition shooters. We don't do this kind of stuff all the time. I mean, we're just everyday people. But anyways, this will give you a good idea of, you know, how fast you can get up on target and whatnot. And you can even draw from your holster. So since this gun is a full-size style gun, like I've got my little Forest City tactical holster here with my G19 in there. I'll pull that out. I can put my 17 size gun in here, and you can practice just drawing from your holster and firing on target.
So let's do a scenario like you're editing and someone comes up the stairs and tries to kill you, and you gotta shoot them.
Okay, well how about 2 guys?
2 guys. Okay,
right,
we got 2 guys.
All right, so this is literally like where that I edit pretty much all the YouTube content is right here. I do edit on the laptop when we're on the road and such, but we do have this editing station here that works out really well. So, okay, I'm gonna clear our targets out. Random start again.
Let me get the hell out of the way here.
Oh crap, what the hell is going on here? All right, so there you go. 2 bogeys down while I'm editing. I mean, you can do all kinds of crazy scenarios. So the first shot was 2 seconds. I don't know, they may have gotten me by then. Let's try that one more time, just for fun. All right, so I'm gonna put my gun back in my holster here.
Not too shabby.
Oh, hell.
Well, 1.8 seconds from a holster, that's not bad.
Well, and 2 sitting at a desk, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, what can you do? But there's all kinds of crazy stuff you can do. You know, they do have the call targets, the immediate start. I mean, several different modes in here. And, you know, Tim over at Military Arms Channel actually just recently did a very in-depth video on this particular software, and he goes into a lot of detail, which, I mean, we could do the same thing, but really, I'd recommend you guys go over there and check out Tim's video on the subject and to see more in-depth, a more in-depth view of this particular software itself and everything that you can do with it. But just to give you a good idea, I mean, this software is pretty cool, and like I said, we're not expending any ammunition right now. I mean, just basically the cost of the software and the pistol itself is the only thing that we have out on this. Yeah. And you know, you're not burning up ammunition, you're not having to load up your gun, go to the range, you know, load magazines and such. I mean, you've got a laser pistol here with a weighted magazine. Okay, so no money is actually being sent down range right now, so you don't have to worry about that. And like we said earlier, you know, 22 is a good training aid and such, but on a day like this, when it's raining and such, and just this really horrible week that we've been having, I mean, this is a good option for indoor training and just getting more trigger time than you would otherwise.
Well, you know, this laser training software has also got a lot of real-world training implications that can really go well in an indoor environment. Whether you're an instructor that just wants to have another level of, you know, training to offer to their students, or you're just a regular person like us who just wants to have a way to, you know, I'm the kind of person, if I can't make it out the range, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of things you can do indoors, obviously. I mean, some folks are video game people and all that sort of thing. I don't know. I like to shoot.
And also, you know, in our situation here, I mean, most of the time when we're actually out at the range, we're filming YouTube videos. I mean, we very rarely have any recreational time at the range to put meaningful rounds down range and actually train or train drawing from the holster, time ourselves such as that. I mean, we just really do not have time. And if I'm up here literally editing and I'm waiting on the video to render, sometimes like a gun gripe or 5 guns or something can take 30, 45 minutes to render. So that's just kind of downtime for me. I could pick up the SEERT pistol here, have my targets on the wall, and actually get in some decent trigger time while I'm sitting here waiting on videos to render.
Sure.
So there's, I mean, so many applications for this. It's not even funny.
I mean, you could. This is a great way to get like young children involved in handling a pistol, where you don't have to worry about anything dangerous happening. Or let's say your spouse is a little bit gun shy and they're worried about recoil or worried about spending money on the extra ammo, or say you're a college student. I mean, guys, the list could go on a million different directions in terms of the benefits that something like this would have for the average person. So
yeah, I mean, starting someone off who's never really had any experience with firearms in the past, starting them off on something like this to see like what they would do if they were at the range. I mean, as far as trigger control goes, you can actually train somebody on good trigger control before they even pick up a live firearm.
Yep.
And that can be very beneficial. And
guys, money isn't exactly growing on trees these days.
No,
I mean,
it's not.
It's nice to be able to have a way to train that doesn't cost a lot of money, and it will encourage somebody to get out there and shoot a little bit more when the weather is good, or when they can get around to buying extra ammo or something like that.
Yep.
So we're going to take a moment we will show you around here. I know this video is a little bit long and drawn out, but I hope you guys enjoyed this concept and can kind of understand, what we're going for here in discussing this with you guys, and why we did, because we can't film anything else outside. So this it's kind of mirrors the real world principles that go along with this software, is that we can't go outside and shoot and film because it's piss and rain outside. We're going to take a minute, show you around our little editing station up here, which is kind of set up kind of in a man cave style. We'll show you around and close the little video out. So that's pretty cool.
All right, guys, a lot of you always ask, what kind of video editing software we use. I mean, what's our process for editing, that sort of thing. Well, let me show you exactly what I do. I mean, I do pretty much all the camera work and such, all the photography for the channel, and I edit all the videos. I mean, Eric always says that he can help out and do that, but no, I like doing things myself. But anyways, we've got a dual monitor set up here. We've got a pretty high-speed computer to actually run Vegas Pro, and I do use Sony Vegas Pro. It's something we've been using for, God, I mean, pretty much ever since we started. Eric started on that software, and I started learning on it, and it just made sense to stay with it. I did try a few different other options, including like Adobe Premiere, but I just really couldn't get past the learning curve. I already knew Vegas. I had a lot of stuff set up in it. I just had knowledge of it. It just made sense to stick with it. But anyways, this is pretty much what we do after we film. I sit behind the computer here, I drop files, and I edit videos. I mean, this video here is actually a top 5 video that we've got coming out here before too long. This is our top 5 personal guns. So you guys can expect that on the channel here in the next couple of weeks or so. But this is pretty much, the editing station as it sits in a nutshell. I mean, there's really not a whole lot else to discuss about it. We do have some personal defense items on the desk itself. Got a little Arsenal AK here, just in case any bogeys come up the stairs after me. But I think Eric's going to show you a little bit more of the music gear and stuff that we have. I mean, a lot of you guys know from Facebook posts and such, and just from knowing us in the past, that Eric and I are both big musicians, and we've had small groups in the past, and we've actually played out around the local area. We've recorded some of our own music tracks before, and some of those you can actually hear in the older videos. Lately, we've just been using royalty-free music to keep things very simple. But anyways, we're looking at cutting some of our own tracks. And in 2016, you guys are really going to start hearing some of those tracks in some of the videos, like intro rolls, outro rolls, that sort of thing. But anyways, I'll let you guys check out some of our music gear and whatnot. Eric's going to show you around there. Let's go.
I'm sorry y'all had to sit through that crappy guitar playing. We have been looking at maybe cutting some tracks for the channel and everything like that. And Chad and I both have known each other a long time. We've been into music a long time. And I've been into music gear, and if you can't tell by the room I'm in, for quite a while. We got a Mesa Boogie Mark V here. It's one of my favorite amplifiers. I've always loved the Mark V series, Mesas. Some of you guys watching this and probably going, well, we're gun people, dang it, we don't care about music. Well, that's all right. That's just part of what I do and what I am as a person is music. Big fan of Fender. I love Fender Tellies, Strats. I got a variety of different Strats on the wall over here. You know, a couple of Tellies, a few odds and ends, a couple of lawsuit Ibanez's. Kind of into the, not really a Gibson guy so much, but I like the you know, the lawsuit Ibanez's because they're vintage. You know, Les Pauls that people can actually afford. You know what I mean? A few odds and ends. You know, some of Chad's instruments over there. Fretless bass. It's a Yamaha. He's got a Tobias custom bass with a pistachio top over there. It's really awesome. Little 72 Music Master. Parker Deluxe over there, which is an awesome, awesome guitar. You know, it's no mystery. People that know us really well, you know that we're into music and that we enjoy it a lot. Expect some tracks before long. Pretty much this area up here, you know, is just a place for Chad to work, do his thing. You know, we eventually going to be cutting some of the music tracks. We got a little couch area over there. It's pretty standard, not unlike what you would see really in anyone's man cave or loft or whatever. It's pretty much just your standard loft. So I hope you found this video somewhat enjoyable other than my crummy guitar playing. And if you guys need anything else, you know where to find us. And we appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you next time.